Hi, welcome to my presentation about strategic leadership behavior, a tool to align security with business. My name is Veysel Erdağ. I am the Chief Information Security Officer at University of Arkansas at Little Rock. I wish we could see each other. Unfortunately, because of the current circumstances, we need to stay at home and maybe next time we can find an opportunity to talk to each other. But in any case, you can find my email and other information about communication. Please don't hesitate to send me an email, connect via LinkedIn, or follow me on Twitter. I have been in information security industry for more than 18 years, and most of the time I feel Don Quixote. I mean, we are fighting with giants, but they are not imaginary, unfortunately. But when we try to explain what we are trying to do or why information security is important to other business units or senior management, generally, we are having a lot of difficulties to explain that. I hope you are not feeling in this way, but most of the time it's possible. But I hope that after this session or presentation, you will feel different because we are very used to use very well-defined tools, very well-defined frameworks. And in this presentation, you will also get a lot of information about new tools to improve your soft skills or leadership behavior, which can increase your effectiveness in the organization. In the history, in this graph, in fact, shows the evaluation of IT. It is, I think, very well representation of evaluation in time. And right now, as you can see, IT is one of the core components of any business. But I cannot say the same for our information security. I think we are around 2010s. I mean, generally it is a mandatory part of doing business, but we are not still any kind of core component of any business right now. But we should be in the core because information security is in fact one of the enabler component of business. And we'll look at the business theories or leadership theories or leadership in general. There are some myths. For example, most of the people believe that leaders are born, not made. Once a leader, always a leader. Generally, charisma is very important, and most of the leaders are very charismatic, and it's not easy to become an effective leader. In fact, not correct. These days, it's really possible to improve our leadership skills, and we should improve our leadership skills because information security is, in fact, requires very strong leadership because we are always creating change, leading change. We are always encouraging everybody to be part of huge changes. We are encouraging everybody, specifically in an organization, to change the culture, to change behavior, to change technology most of the time. And we'll look at the differences between managers and leaders. Managers are generally try to keep the order, develop plans, and allocate resources. On the other hand, most important job of a leader is to define a vision and to create the change in the organization. And another most important part of a leadership skill or job is to influence other people to follow you or to be part of this change. That's why leadership requires a lot of efforts and sometimes uh, a lot of creativity at the same time. As I said, there are different kinds of leadership theories, but most of the theories define uh, what are the behaviors, how you should behave. But strategic leadership mainly describe how you can implement these changes, how you can, in fact, be an effective leader. When we look at the definition of the strategic leadership, it is the capability to singularly or with others anticipate change and create direction, alignment, commitment, and results, and write it down in an actionable plan. As you can see in the definition, we can see alignment, and we can also see an actionable plan. That's why strategic leadership is one of the important leadership theories we can or we should apply. On the other hand, when we say anything about strategic, including strategic leadership, uh, sometimes it's really easy to confuse strategic leadership with the strategic management process. It is not a strategic management process. In fact, when you can easily find a lot of information about strategic management in the literature, but as I said, it's not a strategic leadership management process. Strategic leadership is ability to make and implement consequential decisions about ends, about actions, tactics to keep their organization's team positions. It's aligned with its environment. This slide shows a very typical strategic management process, but as I said, you can find very similar information, but leadership is very different from the strategic management process. Strategic leadership requires strategic thinking and strategic execution at the same time. You need to first assess the current situation, where we are, and where we can go. And you also need to develop an execution plan. How do we keep making it happen? How do we make it happen? In fact, these are the two other main components of execution. Strategic leadership framework has five main behaviors. The first one is transforming behavior. The second one is managing behavior. Third one, bartering behavior. And the fourth one is the bridging. And the last one is the bonding behavior. Bartering and bridging behaviors are also defined as the political component of strategic leadership framework. On the other hand, bonding behavior is the ethical part of the strategic leadership behavior, because although we are always talking about good leadership, we are also at the same time seeing a lot of examples of bad leadership. I mean, we are intending to create good results in our organizations. However, there are lots of leaders creating disasters, creating very bad results in their organizations, in their social life, or creating disaster even for the world. That's why bonding or the ethical component of strategic leadership is also very important. The principles of strategic leadership is to create effective communication links. Communication is the most important component of almost every strategy, every leadership theory, but it is specifically important for the strategic leadership. It is also very important to align our businesses, I mean, information security management units, with the other business units. We need to create trust. We need to coordinate the actions and the tasks. We need to steer organizational activities, elevate the status of the organizational purpose, values, and guiding principles. continuously rethink and restructure to stay connected to the environment. It is the strategic part of the leadership, in fact. You can see the brief descriptions of these components, the detailed descriptions of the components. A transforming component mainly focus on creating change in the organization, which is maybe the most important job of a leader, and which is, in fact, we are actively doing every day in our organization. We are continuously creating change. We are changing the behavior, we are changing the culture, we are defining new policies, trying to enforce everybody. That's why we are, in fact, practically transforming leadership behavior or transforming component of the strategic leadership behavior in our organization. It is really important to challenge the mental models of members of the organization. We are challenging members of the organization. We need to create readiness for the change. That's why we need to communicate what we are trying to do in the organization. We need to develop a statement of intent, why it's really important, what is the result or what can be the result, what is the expected outcome of any action, any policies, any maybe restriction or the change in the design. Communicates through storytelling. We are very used to use maybe some technical terms instead of using a lot of technical terms. Maybe we can use more storytelling, or we need to maybe improve our storytelling capabilities. We need to work on that. We need to see what is or what cannot be seen. That's why interpreting events and shape meaning for followers is also very important. When you look at the managing component, as I said at the beginning, managing component, in fact, is also very important for a leader, because while we are leading the change, we are trying to create the change, we also need to keep everything in order. That's why the managing component is important. And as you can see here, managing component includes plans, organizations or directions, controls, and motivations for the organization or the team members. The leaders, while performing the managing actions, specifies the goals needed to be accomplished and clearly describes values and standards, which is also, in fact, part of our daily life. We are already defining the standards, and maybe we can combine the standards with the values also. The most important thing about the managing component is providing the necessary resources. I know that we are having difficulties about the resources, but it is job of component here. Bonding component is important to create trust, because we need to be trustworthy. We need to create trust. We need to be role models for our organization. We need to follow our policies and in fact, try to encourage everybody to follow our policies. Bridging develops external alliances, which is important, because we need to get approval or maybe acceptance from external, which means the other business units maybe in our organization. That's why we also need to work on bridging capabilities or tasks to create strong ties with other business units, or maybe with external stakeholders in our businesses. Partnering can be defined as the win-win component of strategic leadership. And if you follow these guidelines, I'm sure that your leadership effectiveness will increase. On the other hand, we are seeing other difficulties. For example, almost every framework is saying that senior management support is very important, and we are generally lacking the senior management support. This is one of the most important inhibitors. But in addition to that, we have budget and staffing issues. We have business units doesn't understand our information security task or requirements. Sometimes we can be more technical than managerial, or we may lack the leadership skills. And you can check or see the other inhibitors here. If we convert these inhibitors into enablers, we can, in fact, increase our alignment, and we can be seen as a real enabler in an organization or in our organization. That's why strategic alignment maturity model is very important, and we can follow these guidelines, or you can use strategic alignment maturity model as a tool to increase your alignment and to increase your contribution to the organization. When we look at the strategic leadership alignment maturity model, we can see 6 main components. And the first component, again, here is the communication. The second component is competencies, value measurement. Are we measuring any effectiveness? Do we have any business metrics, IT metrics, benchmarking, or not? Governance is part of the maturity model here. Do we have partnership? Are we sharing the risk? Are we sharing goals? Is information security part of the strategic management process or strategic development process? Are we sharing the risk, or are we sharing the penalties, or just information security department is taking all the risks and penalties or not? The architecture, are we aligning the architecture with the business requirements or business needs, or we are just concentrating on technical requirements without communicating with the business teams or not? And of course, the last one is the skills. Do we have the necessary skills? Do we have concentration, necessary education, or can we create any required social or political trust? Since it's a maturity model, in fact, it has some levels. It by looking at the definitions here or the components here, you can assess your maturity, and you can also define your goals and your next target. And it's really easy to, in fact, define the necessary actions to achieve the next step or the next level. That's why strategic alignment maturity model is useful tool, and it's a practical tool also. You can directly start to use the tool to improve the alignment and to show your contribution to the organization. While I was studying my PhD, my research was about impact of strategic leadership on strategic alignment between information security or IT and the business strategies. And my research shows that strategic leadership positively impacts strategic alignment maturity between business and IT, which means if you follow strategic leadership behavior principles or actions, you can increase your alignment and your maturity in your organization, which means your organization will see your contribution and they will value information security department more. Some of the other findings, if you receive any leadership training, it will positively or increase the impact of the strategic leadership or the alignment in the organization. And if you would like to get more information about the research, please just send me an email and I'll be more than happy to share that with you. And lately, my last slide shows the positive impact on strategic leadership, on strategic alignment maturity I hope that I can explain everything very clearly. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me or send me an email. Please send me a connection request via LinkedIn. I'll be more than happy to share what I know and more than happy to contribute to your organization or your leadership skills. Thank you very much for attending.